Your hosts from Collingwood, Ontario, Canada, Jack Edwards, and his partner from Dallas, Texas, by way of Port Arthur, Texas, Big George. Together, they are the North-South Connection.
Hello, everybody. This is it, the premiere edition of 5 Count. I'm Jack Edwards alongside my man Big George. And we're the North-South Connection, and we are so happy to be here. George, it's been a long time. A lot of talk, months of planning, a lot of talk from a lot of calls from Dallas to Collingwood.
Yeah.
So
a lot of phone calls, a lot of business, a lot of talking, but now we get to talk for real.
Now we do. So I guess I'll open up by saying this is an idea we came up with. We met on Twitter, which is because a lot of people are wondering how does a guy from Dallas and a guy from Canada meet and start a podcast? We met on Twitter. We both love the Chiefs. We both love wrestling, sports, the whole thing. And one day we just kind of started talking and found out we have a lot in common and decided to start a podcast, but more importantly, start a friendship. And that's kind of what's happened here.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see how, it looks weird. I'm not going to lie. If I told all my friends I had a friend from Canada, they think I'm a liar. But at the end of the day, we are connected by the business. We are connected by our love for sports. So I'm here to talk sports with you, but I'm also here to give you my top 5.
Yeah.
Everything. My version of everything is going to be different from your version of everything. So I think, we're going to look at the top 5. We're going to see how, it all plays out. I mean, if your top 5 is better, I'll tap out. I'll tap out. I'll take that. But if my top 5 is better, I will legitimately tell you and give you every reason to understand that this top 5 has no flaws. No flaws.
So here's how it goes. It's an interesting podcast that we come out. We think it's an interesting idea. So basically, George and I create a top 5 list on a certain topic. And this week's topic is going to be the top 5 tag team champions from the WWF from 1985 to 1990, which won the poll. So basically, George and I each get 2 picks. So George picked 2 and I picked 2. And then after that, we each pick one more, and that's where the debate comes in. So we have to debate on who the last member of the top 5 is. We each get a veto, which I stole from a Friends episode where Ross and Rachel tried to name their baby. George went whiter by the day, man. Whiter by the day. And then so he gets to veto if he says something ridiculous. I think is ridiculous. I can veto it, vice versa. But then we have to decide. We have to debate that, and then we have to do the order. So there's a lot of topics we're going to discuss going forward. And we want to thank everybody, obviously, who showed support for the poll, showed support for the podcast so far. Like, subscribe on all your social media platforms. Share this. Please do. We're getting started. We're really excited. But first, we're going to talk about what's going on in wrestling, just what we've seen and what we hear, what we like. George, kick it off. Raw SmackDown was fire this week. What do you think?
I got to start it off with a heat comes from me. Like, Jade made her debut, and she didn't hold no punches. I feel like she came out there to show the business that she was serious. I think over the last few months, we've been waiting on her to come out here and just kind of give us what Jade was going to give us. But the thing was, I feel like they let her cook for a little bit. They kind of put her in the oven, the WWE oven, and cook for a little bit because, of course, she was coming over a little raw. So I was kind of anticipating what that was going to be versus, what she looked like on the other side. Now, of course, coming in, you still have the great one making a lot of noise this week, a lot of noise. And I think, he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Me personally, I love it. Hollywood Rock is Hollywood Rock, baby. And you got to understand, this man is literally coming in to protect his bloodline. So, I like, how he's incorporating everything from the yesteryears of Rock, but also incorporating what this new version of Rock can do and can be. So I like that aspect of it. I think, Cody got his hands full. He didn't pick with the wrong bully in the lunchroom. So we're going to see how it all folds out.
Yeah. I watched SmackDown. I love Jade's, she just looks so different than anyone else. Like, nobody looks like her. like at all. And so she's got such a unique look. The Rock was great. I like the way they're building this WrestleMania. There hasn't been a build like this for WrestleMania in a long time. And I think that it's so exciting. Like even matches like that. You know how much I dig LA Knight and AJ Styles. I think they're going to have one of the sleeper matches of WrestleMania. I just think there's a lot of heat. I love the match they just made with Mysterio and Dragon Lee against Dirty Dom, and you know how much I'm a big Dirty Dom guy.
You are, we've had that conversation multiple times. Is how you and this love for the heat of Dirty Dom. I'm not, not necessarily not sold on him. I'm not necessarily, throwing him under the bus, but I do feel like, Dom is personally hated, and it's a good thing for the WWE universe. I feel like we haven't had a heel that could easily just be hated when they see him. Like, it's been a while since you've had that. I mean, there was that level a while back with CM Punk for a while.
Yeah.
When his WWE run, like he would come out and they would cut mics off and they would do all kind of things. But Dom kind of brings that element without actually trying. Like, he was born to be this. I feel like he took a good thing from his dad by not necessarily being his dad. And I think that's the cool thing about it. Like, he's his own entity. And yeah, I guess you could say I got a liking to him, but it's just I'm not ready to admit it yet. I'm not ready to I'm not ready to give Dom my full support just yet. But he working on me.
See, I like the CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre promo. Punk's reaction when Seth Rollins came out, he's like, it kind of reminds me of like when somebody asks you to do something you don't want to do, or like before, if my wife said something to me, I would roll my eyes. She's like, "Don't roll your eyes at me." So that's what I got from that. But it's such a really good promo. You're interested in what Punk's doing. The thing I like about wrestling right now, and the WWE, anyways, where it's at, is that there's long-term storylines matter, belts matter. Things aren't just week to week anymore. They're planning them out, and I think you're seeing that people are getting into it again. And I mean, the talent's good. I mean, they got good talent. Like, I mean, I watched the match. Oh, what was it? Angel and Berto. I'll butcher their name, but they're with Santos Escobar, and they worked Pete Dunne, and the other dude. Oh, what's his name? Oh, the big strong boy. Anyway, they had a great match. And so, I mean, the matches are getting better. I think wrestling's starting to build again, especially WWE. And I think the fact that, like, you look at Gunther's belt, you look at, and I have to talk about Rhea Ripley, because I've said to you, and I believe this, Rhea Ripley, to me, is the best wrestler in the world, male or female. There's nobody that does it as good as her. She comes out, she looks amazing, she talks amazing, she's got an unbelievable, like, she can wrestle really well. She's got a lot of heat. She carries the Judgment Day, her and Dom. So I just think, for me, she's at the top of the business. I don't think there's anyone as good as her right now. She's so good.
That's an opinion. I'm not gonna say I totally agree, because of course I do. I'm not biased by any means to a specific type of superstar due to the fact that everybody in the business is getting better.
Yeah.
I feel like Rhea's at the top of her game right now, and she can only get better. I feel like, in the women's division, there's nobody like her. I like the fact that they incorporated Jade, because that honestly gives good competition to Rhea whenever that comes.
Yeah.
I want them to go ahead and start getting that kind of worked in the back door. I know Jade and Rhea right now are locked into some storylines that are really good right now, and I don't see no reason to break away just to make a dream match all of a sudden. You got WrestleMania 40 right around the corner, so you don't have to really look at changing anything from what it already has been, because of Jade just making her her debut. But I really do feel like Rhea is, she really, all right, I'll say it, she really is the best in the business right now. I gotta say it, because and this is breaking news to anybody who hears it, because at the end of it all, I'm just like this. She has the look, she has the vibe, she has the crowd, she has the moves, she has the physical ability. Like, she has that ability to kind of not only take a crowd but flip it if she needs to.
Yeah.
I feel like she could easily go from babyface to heel and heel to babyface the way she has it so far. So, it's a good look for her. I'm glad that she has the title. I'm glad that she has, this good look right now. But how long does it last? That's the thing. I mean, she could be the best wrestler in the world today, and then next week she could be off her game, and then all of a sudden it's a downhill spiral. This business is very, very touchy. So I love where she's at, though.
I do. I think I hope that they build Jade for a year. Jade wins the Rumble. They build her and Rhea next WrestleMania, because that's the match that as soon as you saw Jade Cargill come out, you're like, geez, that's a challenge. That's a real legit challenge, because she is
a legit challenge. I honestly think that she's going to be bigger than what she needs to be at the time that she doesn't. And I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I just feel like she'll grow into those shoes real fast. So absolutely. I don't think, she's too big for her own light. I just feel like that light's going to be bright wherever she goes. And so we have an expectation of her actually being better than what she's supposed to be right now. We don't know exactly what she's supposed to be. We know for a fact that, she tried to get in a little bit earlier. And I know they wanted to kind of work with her before she actually got to the main stage. Yeah. So, and I think that's important, because you have a lot of talent that comes over and think, maybe that, they can just kind of translate that easily. Or, maybe because they were the big star on this other show or this other brand, they just come over and be another star in this particular version. So, I'm glad they did work with her. I'm glad they made it. Yeah. They made us wait a little bit. The anticipation actually definitely built. And I almost forgot for a little bit. And I almost forgot in a good way, because I wasn't looking forward to her coming in and trying to, change the entire women's division. No. But I also didn't want her to come in and try to change the entire women's division in one day. That'd have been a total fail. So I'm glad they made us wait. I'm glad they let it, cook and materialize to where it is now.
Got a good match at WrestleMania with Bianca and Naomi against Damage Control folks. I mean, it's an easy way to get her in. I hope they don't rush it. I hope they continue to build her. Let her just be because you could see it. If you're a wrestling fan, you're like, the moment she debuted, like, okay, it's got to be her and Rhea at WrestleMania. That's where it's going to be eventually. But hopefully we'll get there. But I like what they're doing. I do. I got a
question. WrestleMania season is right around the corner. You have so many things that are happening, so many storylines that are taking turns. Yeah. I know this is kind of just out here. I know this is off script, guys. This is definitely an off script question. So, do you have any ideas on a specific plot twist on any of the storylines for WrestleMania? Do you have any ideas that you could see happening, or do you have something in your mind that could change the landscape if they did?
I'm trying to think. Everyone keeps talking about The Rock's going to turn on Roman. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm interested to see what happens with that. So there's that one. I'm interested to see what happens with Punk and what role he plays, because I like that they're still keeping him involved. Right. He's going back soon, but they're still keeping his name out there. I'm a big, so I actually think they let Cody run the table. I think it's bloodline. I think it'll be bloodline rules, and then Cody beats Roman. And I think they're good, because I think they're going to put a stamp on him. Like, if they're going to make him as big as he can be, and as big as they can. And I think the same way they did Daniel Bryan. I mean, I think that's the same thing they do with him. Is I think Cody loses. The Rock gets the victory the one night, so he can brag about it, but Cody gets the big victory the next. That's what I think. But again, they've been pretty good at, when you think they're going right, they go left, which is amazing, which is what you want. Other than that, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a ton of swerves. There's going to be one major one, but I don't know who it's going to be. But
in my mind, I do have a theory, but it's just a theory. It's not anything tangible. It's not anything that you can write to the company about. But I do have a feeling that Roman keeps the belt. I have a feeling that Seth turns on Cody. Simply for the fact that, one, when Cody had the opportunity to choose the belts at the Rumble.
Yeah.
Him choosing Roman was cool because everybody wanted that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, why do you feel as if this title is secondary? Why do you feel as if, I'm second to Roman Reigns in any way? Like, that's an idea. Like, I just think that, the ego of Seth Rollins at this particular point is so big. It's bigger than what we can actually imagine, but yet we still play it like he's just Seth playing friends with Cody. Oh, he wants Seth to, Seth wants Cody to get over. Why would he want him to get over?
Mm-hmm.
What necessary allegiance does he have to Cody? He's already the champion. I mean, does he want him to get over so he doesn't have to fight him?
That's true.
Or is it just a simple fact
that's
that
not a bad idea at all?
That's just an idea. I mean, I'm just saying, because I look at this like, all right, you got Cody already set up on this pedestal to go ahead and try to take out Roman, and then you got the world heavyweight champion at his side trying to make sure that he does it.
Yeah.
Who are you trying to prove a point to, Seth? Ask for real questions. I don't understand what your motive is as far as helping Cody. Yeah, you can help take out Roman, and that can be a thing, but then it becomes the stigma of you not being able to take out Roman by yourself. All these years after you guys have split, even though you were champion, Roman still came on top. You couldn't deny who Roman was. So now you live in the shadows, and now you need help taking him out. And you chose Cody to help you do it because he was hot. But
hey,
that's just me. That's just an idea and a theory. Sometimes I think of these things and I just think like, all right, what could happen? What could potentially happen? But at the end of the day, it's just a theory. I just really feel like, you got a lot of heat on Cody to be the taker downer of the bloodline.
Well, here's the thing: is I think that that's the good part about this WrestleMania is all the questions. Like nobody has any real idea on what's going to happen. They're like everybody's speculating.
Really, 1997. It feels really 1997.
It feels very Attitude Era-ish, in that you're not sure what's going to happen. But I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch WrestleMania. And I haven't said that in a while. Like, I mean, I remember the Austin one. Last year's was really good. They've all been really good. They really know. But I guess this is Triple H's first where he's completely and totally in charge, right? This is his
right.
Oh, that's
his first.
So, let's get to it. Let's get to the top 5 list.
Let's do it. I mean, 90. Look. A lot of people kind of look at this as a really odd topic, probably especially because of my age. I would be born right in the middle of this topic, but guess what? No, don't you do that. I rewind time just like anybody else can. So I'm a real big advocate of things of yesteryear. I'm really a respectable savant of older wrestling. The years I was born were some of the golden years, they call it. So at the end of, all of this, I had to go back and watch it. Yeah, I'm a WCW guy through and through.
That's right.
I'm a WWF guy through and through. And the WWE guy through and through. So, it kind of takes, its own kind of channels. But the 1985 group from the 1990 group has a very specific set of tag team champions that kind of just look a little bit better to me in aspect to some of the greater 90s champions. Now, I'm not going to take away some of your loves and some of your fan favorites. You got your Dudley Boys, you got your Edge and Christians, you got all those guys who were tag team champions. But the era that we're going to be talking about today is just a little bit more vintage, a little bit more solid. So,
and this is in my bailiwick. Like I started watching wrestling. I was born 9 years before you were. I started watching wrestling in 1984. So I was old school WWF. That was my that was what I was doing. So I love this topic. No love though for the WCW TV title on the poll. Nobody
No, they wasn't ready for that Booker T action. I don't know if they was ready to see how we was gonna argue how well Booker T landed on that. Oh, speaking of WWF Tag Team Champions, I think I have to shout this out just to be the savant of history. You started watching in '84. We are the North and South Connection. In 1984, WWF Tag Team Champions were the North and South Connection. So, food for thought. So, at the same time, you have a little bit of wrestling history in the making already with this. So,
and playing the NWO shirts, just so everyone knows.
Nah, this is definitely. I put it to you like this: I ain't bought this man nothing. He ain't bought me nothing, and I love the idea that we both hopped on camera and it was already this, and it's not something that we just said, "Oh, we're gonna plan this." That's not how we worked it out.
We're definitely twins, and I'm DeVito.
Okay, twins. I like it. I don't see it, but twins. All right.
Gotcha, like the Dudley Boys, kind of.
You know what? I'll take that. You have to be Stuttering Devon, though, not the regular one. You got to be Stuttering Devon.
I probably could. I had a stutter when I was a kid. So, George, hit it off. Give us your first two picks, because I have a bunch here. So who are your first two into the list?
So my first two into the list, I have. I really thought about where these teams actually lie, and so with the history of the belt itself, I was like, where does the popularity kind of start for most of it? Where do people actually start getting really famous for it? And you kind of have to look at some of the older, more tenured vets. And there's a team in there. And I was looking, I was like, okay, the U.S. Express sounds great, but that's too low at like 5, So I went with, and this is my 5, the British Bulldogs, because they only held it once or twice.
Okay.
But at the same time, the British Bulldogs definitely brought a popularity to the belts that a lot of people were looking for. Even though the belts were already popular, you had a different element with Davey Boy Jones coming in and actually trying to be a tag team champion and looking really good doing it. I mean, it kind of led to things actually getting better later on down the line to some other, potential WWF champions, tag team champions, actually. So, that's my first one.
The Bulldogs. So who's your number 2 on the ends of the list? Your second pick.
Okay. So.
But I'm glad you mentioned the Bulldogs.
The reason why I put this as my second pick, because I know my first pick is going to be a good pick. But the thing is, I had to take this group second. And it's probably like my number 2 out of everybody. My personal number 2. I'm taking Demolition. And I take Demolition at 2 because they held the belts more than anybody.
Okay.
They had a fantastic finisher. The look was great. They didn't have what I would call a social status. Like, we have social media nowadays, so they didn't really have anybody kind of pushing them like that on TV or anything like that. They just came out and beat people the fuck up. That's what it was. It was the business. It was just like, I'm gonna come out here and we're gonna be the best tag team that we can possibly be at this time. Yeah. At the era and in the time of the era, actually, working out the best way it possibly could. Those guys stayed on top, and when they got beat, they came back even harder. Yeah. So that's what kind of made it, their run a little bit more legendary for me. I think that's, one of the better tag team champions. Not my number 1, but I'll take the Bulldogs and Demolition 2 and 3.
Before I get to my 2, my Demolition story. Obviously, I promote wrestling. I work with Rock Solid Wrestling. Check us out on Twitter. And we brought in Demolition once. And they are the nicest humans you've ever met. Absolutely the nicest people you've ever met in your life. My phone is going off. I can't do anything about it right now. But
who has a house phone in 2024?
I still have a house phone. I still have a house phone. I'm like, get the house phone. Get rid of the house phone. Nope. It's like that emergency landline. We're always going to have it just in case the world ends. So
All right.
Demolition, we brought them in several years ago. We did a tag team tournament with them. The nicest guys in the world. Barry Darso they're both super nice. Darso's super nice. So is Bill Eadie, Axe and Smash. And they did they were just outside. They were kind of presented the belts because we were doing a tag team title thing. But I got to spend the weekend with those guys. And the one thing I noticed is they were so big. Like, I could only imagine when they were young and thick and hungry. Whew, they would have been monsters. But great guys, absolutely. They drank beer with us, ate pizza with us, and Barry Darso at the end of the night put his arm around me. He's like, John, it doesn't get much better than this. The nicest dudes, nicest guys. So you picked the Bulldogs and Demolition. Those are fantastic picks. Number one for me is the Hart Foundation. I got to go with the Hart Foundation. That's come on. They are for that era. I think. To me, they're the best tag team. They just had their work was so good because you had two contrasting styles. Like Demolition was great; they were very similar. The Bulldogs were kind of contrasting styles as well. Dynamite was more quicker, but Davey Boy was really fast. But Anvil was completely different from the Hitman, and I think that's what made that team so good. Like Brett would come in and do the good technical work, and then Anvil would come in and be the hammer. And and they were great with Jimmy Hart. They had a great look with the pink and the whole thing. I love the Demolition. I meant the Hart Foundation. Love Demolition too. And the other one is kind of off the beaten path, but the Brainbusters. I have to put the Brainbusters in there just because I think they are one of the best tag teams in wrestling history. This is pure wrestlers. They're as good as it gets. They had Bobby Heenan with them. They had a nice little run as tag champs, not the longest, but I gotta put them in because I just think they were so good in the ring that they made it to me, and they had a great match with the Rockers and anybody they wrestled. They had a great match with. So far we have 4 teams: the Bulldogs, Demolition, the Hart Foundation, and the Brainbusters. So now, who's your pick for the 5th? Now we're going to get into the debate. Who's debating?
The number 5, and this is number 5 for me. Like, I think we can agree on the Hart Foundation at number 1 because that's my number 1 too.
Yeah,
I mean, they had to be over Demolition simply because, like you said, the contrasting styles are definitely something to watch for.
Yeah.
But they had an attitude outside of the ring that nobody could match. Like they made wearing pink cool.
Yeah,
and that's hard to do as a man, period. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Them big glasses and the jackets and I put it to you like this. I couldn't be a white boy in the 80s, but I had ideas. But that's the thing. I think that's one of the things about the Hart Foundation that you couldn't find with other tag teams. They had it inside the ring, outside the ring, on the mic, and off of it. Yeah, and I think that's just you can't get a better combination. But I would like to take for number 5, and you can debate this with a brick because at number 5, I'm taking the Dream Team of Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine.
Whoa!
Because to be honest, you had 2 good-ass wrestlers coming out here giving you great talent, great opportunity, giving a lot of good mic work. Of course, Bruce Beefcake was definitely one of those who I would like to call the wild card. And Greg Valentine in the ring was just
so good.
He was a monster.
So good.
He was definitely good at his craft. He definitely took the time to go ahead and learn things, and you can tell it kind of showed in the ring as far as how much work he put in on the outside. And you can definitely tell when he worked with other people who weren't as good, he made them look much better. So I have to go at number 5 with the Dream Team.
I won't veto that one. I am going to offer another pick, and we can debate it. But the one thing I didn't like about the Dream Team was Johnny Valiant. He was a horrible manager. He couldn't. He didn't. He didn't speak in full sentences. Like he just wasn't good. But Valentine, as a wrestler. If anybody hasn't seen Valentine work against Tito Santana back in the day, those old school matches, go watch them. They're amazing. Like he was a really smart person. Beefcake looked good. He was Hogan's buddy, and I know everybody, but he looked good. He looked the part, and I thought it was a good team. But mine for the fifth is going to be the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. They won it the first WrestleMania. You know I love Heat. I love Heat. I got it. Like I gotta put the Sheik and Volkov in there. I mean, they're classics. Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna say I totally agree. I would definitely take a veto on that honorable mention, simply because I feel like you might as well go ahead and put the Colossal connection in there with Andre and Haku.
no,
You might as well put that in there because you just gave me really. You gonna give me that? Because at the end of it all, I'm like this. You didn't give me anything that I can find tangible with them. Like, they were good. I mean,
they were really good. They got heat. That's the thing that they did. They got heat. I remember WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania, when they worked the US Express and Volkov sang the anthem, and all you saw was shit flying in, and of course, no fear. That's why I love the Sheik. My friend, he always says, he's like, the Sheik was only good because he was Iranian. I said, no, the Sheik was good because he had no fear. But he would come in, Russia #1. But, I mean, I thought they were good. I thought they were a good transitional champion. They dropped it to US Express, who eventually dropped it to the Dream Team. And so, but if you veto it, that's the rules. That's fair.
I'm vetoing that because I'm like this. I feel like there's better tag teams, and I feel like you could put and in all seriousness, I said the Colossal Connection, but in all seriousness, no, they wouldn't be there.
One more.
The honorable mention would definitely be the US Express.
Yeah,
definitely the US Express because I think that they weren't as popular as other teams, but they held the belt at a time that a lot of people weren't able to kind of maintain the belt.
They were good. Like Barry Windham. I don't think people will ever realize how good that guy was. Like Barry Windham was really good. Rotundo was good. Rotundo was actually
one of my favorites. He was solid. Like if you ever notice anything about me on this cast, you'll notice I have a likeness to the big guy. I love the Big Show, Bam Bam, Andre. We'll get to more of these kind of feels because a big guy, he was always supposed to be good. Yeah. He was supposed to be good, but at the same time, some wrestlers get big and they're not good at all. So my love for the big guy is always there. I love the idea of the big bulky guy winning the title, but he also had to make sense. So some of the champions that we do have and some of the champions that we do and do not agree on, we'll have that debate. But I think, when it comes down to certain types of tag team champions, you can't really, you can't seclude that to how big the guys are. I know Demolition was a set of big guys, and I took them at number 2.
But they were big work. Like Bill Eadie, the thing about Axe was they had been like top guys in the territories they were. That was the great thing about the 80s is that all the guys had experience in territories. And when they made it to the WWF, they were the best of the best. And Darso was like that, and so was Axe.
Yeah, Axe was great.
They were big, or they could work. But an honorable mention you said, and I think I got to throw them out there as an honorable mention because I think the 5 that we have is probably fair.
Solid.
I like that.
I think it's solid.
An honorable mention was Strike Force. Strike Force was a very good team, kind of put together after with Martel.
Yeah.
Great workers, like actually great workers. But I think your idea of the Dream Team is good. I mean, because they were the big story of WrestleMania 2. They lost the belts to the Bulldogs, and they just had a really. I just. Let me click this.
Technical difficulties. This man froze.
Technical difficulties. I mean, we're doing this from Canada and to Texas. Like I think people have to bear with us. So
that's just one of the quirks of working this thing. But no, you were saying, you were at WrestleMania 2.
Yeah, WrestleMania 2. I mean, they had a great match with the Bulldogs. Ozzy Osbourne was in their corner. It was the funniest part of that match was they had a great finish where Dynamite was on the top rope and they threw Valentine's head. Davey Boy threw Valentine into Dynamite's head. Dynamite fell off the ring and then he covered him 1, 2, 3. The funny thing was Mean Gene, whoever the woman was doing, Kathy Lee Crosby, I think her name was, she was doing announcing, and Ozzy Osbourne and Captain Lou were in the ring. The Bulldogs are dead on the outside. I'm just like, why don't you get him in the ring before you start the interview?
I mean, it made for the perfect segue. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to kind of use certain things like, the Bulldogs are outside of the ring at this particular point, but hey, it worked.
The match.
So, I'll take that honorable mention. You know what? We can kind of just rope the Dream Team and the Strike Force kind of together as the honorable mentions of that particular group.
I think so. If we're looking at how we make this top 5, you said it, I think the Hart Foundation is number 1.
Number 1.
I think number 1's the Hart Foundation. I think Demolition should be number 2.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Number 3, I would probably say the Bulldogs.
I would move the Bulldogs to 4.
4? Who's 3?
Arn
and Tully or the Dream Team?
I want to say the Dream Team at 3.
Dream Team at 3.
Dream Team at 3. And then the Bulldogs at 4.
And then Arn and Tully. See, I think the Bulldogs is ahead of the Dream Team, but that's not a bad pick. I think they deserve some credit. They were good.
I think the Dream Team, didn't they hold it longer than the Bulldogs?
Probably a similar time lane.
So that's what I'm saying. It was a similar time frame, but it was like they held it a little bit longer than the Bulldogs did. And I got to get, and that's where the edge for me kind of comes in, because of course, if you're able to hold the belts just like a month longer, that's, in hindsight, some people don't get to hold the belt a month at all in some scenarios. There are scenarios where people lose belts within 10 minutes of getting them. Yeah. So I would say in this particular case, at the time that you're looking at it, because holding the belt back then actually made more sense. They kind of
meant something.
I mean, it meant something to hold it. So I would say back then you have to put the Dream Team just a little bit ahead of the Bulldogs at the moment.
And then Arn and Tully would be 5. I think Arn and Tully are so. If there's a conversation about the greatest tag teams of all time, Arn and Tully are in any conversation. They're that good. Like, they were so good. I mean, they didn't hold the WWF belts as long as the other teams, which is why to me they're 5. But I mean, they were so good. They had good matches like with Demolition. They had a great match with the Hart Foundation at SummerSlam '89. They had a great match with the Rockers. I mean, they were a good tag team who just were just solid workers. So I don't have that. I don't mind them putting them at 5 because they didn't hold it as long as the other ones. And the Hart Foundation, I think, held it once in that time, but then got it in 1990 as well.
Yeah.
But
so
I think that's.
I think I like the list. I like. We were able to agree today, and that's going to be rare. I guarantee it's going to be rare. We're able to agree today, and I think that's going to be the reason why I have to kneel today, simply because the list actually made sense. I think we don't have a very, very, very big list of 1985 through 1990. I mean, you did have the Rockers. You had Strike Force. You had
the Rockers
right after.
They never held the belts though. They were supposed to, but then there was that crappy Saturday Night's Main Event match.
Well, they didn't televise it. Yeah. So that's a technically, that's what I'm saying. They didn't televise it, so it's just like it's one of them situations where we know it happened, but we don't know it happened at the same time. So and you kind of have to go with that.
If you went 91 to like 95, you have different and that's the great thing about this format is we can talk about all these different things, and we're gonna. I think. I'm excited because I think next week we're talking about maybe doing it live, right? Possibly on WrestleMania Sunday if we can work it out.
WrestleMania Sunday. I think we'll put a poll out to see exactly what WrestleMania topics we can kind of discuss. There's been the conversation of the best WrestleMania or the best WrestleMania matches.
Yeah.
Or we can even throw in, top 5 WrestleMania performers.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
Or even, try to get. I like this topic because, of course, everybody knows who the top, WrestleMania personalities are.
Yeah.
Everybody likes a good mid-card match too.
Oh, I do. I love a good mid-card match.
I love a good mid-card match. So there are mid-card championships that take place all throughout, WrestleMania. Yeah. So, and that's some goddamn good ones too. So we could potentially kind of come up with the top 5 mid-card matches, matches. That's a horrible English, but top 5 mid-card matches from WrestleManias of years past.
I like it. I don't mind.
I think a good one. I think we can kind of put a poll out for that. So you guys get to pick next week's topic live for WrestleMania.
We may have a special guest.
We may have a special guest. We may not. We may have to kind of put some things together and see who we can actually get on here to show up because we talking wrestling, baby. It's the top 5 list. You can only have 5 of them. And if you throw another person in, his 5 ain't matching my 5, and his 5 ain't matching his 5. So we all have a good opinion on what we're actually looking at. But the thing is, this is going to be something that we can kind of, gravitate to. WrestleMania season is popping, baby. It's hot.
Excited.
I mean, you got The Rock, you got Roman, you got Seth, you got Cody, you got Gunther, you got Jade, you got Bianca, you got the Man coming back. You got it's a lot of good talk wrestling, good wrestling that's actually about to happen. So I can't wait to see what happens at WrestleMania. I can't wait to see what happens next week on Raw to kind of go ahead and start solidifying some of the things we're going to see at WrestleMania. The Raw after WrestleMania, I can't wait for that. I think I wait for that, but it's a little bit more.
It's always this year's fire.
But this year's WrestleMania, I feel like, is actually going to do its job and be that WrestleMania that carries the Monday night after Raw. Because that Monday night after Raw, I mean, just given how years past have actually done us good by the Monday night after WrestleMania is always a good show.
Yeah, but
I think this year it has a lot. I feel like there's going to be so much that happens at WrestleMania that weekend.
Yeah,
that Monday is going to be like that. It might make it like the Attitude Era where you were waiting at the edge of your seats to go ahead and watch Raw the next day.
What about if we put on there too, maybe the top 5 Raws after WrestleMania or the top 5 Raw moments after WrestleMania? So like you have, for example, the Bret Hart promo where he after WrestleMania 13 came out and told the American fans to kiss his ass, or he had the DX reforming when or when Stone Cold came out with the belt and stunned McMahon, and like all those, like there's so many we could do that too, but
there's so many impactful moments that don't get enough shine either. Yeah. There's some moments that we really don't talk about that actually, certain returns after WrestleMania were really, really good too. Yeah. I remember Batista returned after a WrestleMania, and he was looking real, real good. So I just, years back, there's always moments in WrestleMania that actually take over. But then, like you say, that Monday after WrestleMania is literally the day that people wait for. So I like it. I like the idea, but we got to put the poll out to see what you guys think. I think that's the big thing right now is just trying to make sure that once you kind of get the topic, we're going to pick a good top 5 because the top 5, whatever, like if you're talking about top 5 mid-card matches, or if you're even talking about top 5 WrestleManias, I mean, you got WrestleMania 17, you got WrestleMania, 4, you got WrestleMania, 8, which a lot of people slept on, which I was really big on for a while because I was like, are y'all not watching these matches? Like they got some good stuff lined up here. So like you say, it's a lot of good stuff that we can kind of put out, but the poll itself would definitely speak for it. The next episode, we definitely want to go ahead and take another chunk out of wrestling history and kind of walk you down memory lane. Right. But definitely, if you have comments, if you have, your own top 5, what is your top 5? I mean, we talked about today our top 5, tag team champions from 1985 to 1990. So y'all can give us some of y'all's top 5, tag team champions throughout history. And then we'll debate with you as far as what top 5s you come up with and why is it top 5? What makes this top 5? We will involve you in this too. Y'all have a good say in y'all's own lineage and history of what a good tag team champion is. So give me some of your thoughts. I love to hear and compare notes. If you want to talk about all time, WWE Tag Team Champions, we can definitely do that. But these are our top 5 from 85 to 90. Yeah. That's our list. John, what you got?
Well, you pretty much summarized. I mean, thanks to anybody who supported us, who is supporting us. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it, friends of mine and stuff like that. So we appreciate that. Like us on social media. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. So just like us on all of those. We're going to send out some clips, of course. And yeah, give us your top 5. Give us your opinion. Give us your thoughts. Anything we could do to make the show better. We're new at this. This is brand new. Like we're popping this cherry. That's what we're doing right here.
And anybody who remembers episode 1, by the time we get to episode 100, I guarantee you we got something for you. Because if we make 100 episodes, we gotta have something for you. So I definitely want to go ahead and shout out to anybody who watches this first episode. Any clips that you actually like, any topics that you want to debate, we're here to debate them. But of course, this is all friendly wrestling talk. This is just my opinion and this man's opinion on what we actually like as far as wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll be here next Sunday, WrestleMania Sunday. Get ready. It's the 5 count, baby.
Top 5.